Yeehaw! Yep, we're talking about a Western. Talking about Hell or High Water. Stars Jeff Bridges, Gil Birmingham, Chris Pine, and Ben Foster. It's a good old movie that we got to watch for free, which is always the best way to watch a movie. Uh, went and got some GoFobo tickets. I went and saw it with my friend Cody today, and I'm going to give you a little bit of review here. So I'm going to start off non-spoilery, and then I'll go ahead and throw up some ding ding dings when it's time to say that it's a spoiler alert. So just as a general feeling about the movie, I thought it was enjoyable. I thought that it was had some really funny moments in it. It was kind of a downer. There were some sad parts in it. I also thought that there was a real sense of an agenda being kind of pushed that was kind of counter to my real feelings on things. So I was really didn't like that, but I could definitely tell that there was an agenda they were trying to push. The evil bank kind of concept with the poor versus the haves and the have-nots, and I think there was a real feeling of just desolation in the area that this was filmed. Um, so yeah, there was definitely that agenda, I think. But yeah, it was not necessarily a movie that I would necessarily go to. First off, I thought it was a true western. I really expected it to be like the old west, but no, this was the new west. This took place in West Texas, and there was definitely there's actually some moments of real. Just kind of neat to see the people of Texas and how they would react to things, and it was kind of believable. So I did like that part of it. I found it to be slow in some spots where there was a lot of drinking beer on the porch. That is not one of my pastimes, but seemed to be a pastime that was what they did in Texas. The relationships were interesting. I thought that the brotherly relationship between Chris Pine and Ben Foster's character was well established, and there was some moments of true, just love. And I think that the relationship between Bridges' character and Birmingham's character was wonderful. Actually, Gil Birmingham, I would say was actually one. I didn't. I had to look his name up. I did not know who he was, but as far as the acting goes, I think his character was one of the most compelling. It turns out he's from Twilight fame. So yeah, I think he's the father of the Wolf tribe. Um, he plays a half Mexican, half uh, uh, I want to say Apache, but definitely half Indian. There's mention of the Apache tribe a couple times in the movie, um, which means warrior, which or you're my enemy or something like that. They talked about that. So there was a kind of a cowboys and Indians kind of uh, theme going on, but it was also it was the Texas Rangers versus the bank robbers. So yeah, it was. It had some moments that were really good. There were some moments that I felt that I felt being like I was being choked with their agenda of how evil the banks were and how poor people should be able to do whatever the heck they want because they're poor and they should be able to you know um, break the law because you know they were just getting screwed in the first place. Just a lot of justification, and I've never been one for that. I feel like there's justice, and then there's at one point the one character says to the other, "What you're doing is good," and I was like, no, not. But I think that goes to the when the villain thinks the villain is doing. The villain's never wrong in his own mind. Is the concept. So, hopefully that wasn't very spoilery. You'll learn more about that as we go along. Um, uh, so, as far as spoilers go, I'm going to put the ding 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 dings up right now and say I'm going to talk about the movie itself. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, and want to see the movie, I would go ahead and stop watching now. So, if you have watched the movie or you want to just kind of continue to hear my thoughts on what happens, um, first off, I think the relationships were great. I thought the relationship between Bridges' character and Birmingham's character was really quite well done. Very not PC. I mean, I think there was definitely some I'm sure groans from the PC police on that. But I think that he was old and crotchety. I think the way that the character of Humberto was played by Gil Birmingham. I think the way he reacted to the just absurdity of it was what was beautiful about it. Yeah, you're calling me these stupid things. You're being very racist, but you know, I really don't care. And I think that a lot more of that I don't care really should happen. Because honestly, we've gotten so to the point of just being offended by everything that we can't say anything. So I think that was what was well done. And I think that you really felt for the character of Gil. And when what happens to Gil happens, you are able to really feel for him. I think one of the things I said about yesterday when I reviewed the Suicide Squad was that I didn't feel about Slipknot anything because honestly he just showed up and I really didn't care because he didn't even get a place in the dossier. Whereas this one it felt like all the way through I'm living this journey through these guys and actually feeling more in tune with the Humberto character in that I feel like he was an observer of what was going on like we were, so he was actually kind of the audience almost. And I think that when he was taken out, I was like, whoa, that just got real. So that was actually kind of jarring. Actually, I'm not sure if I enjoyed that or not. I mean, I really hated that, but it did justify the actions of the Bridges character against the brother. So there was that. I thought, like I said, there was a lot of beer drinking on the porch. I thought that was kind of, and the one scene where the brothers are doing it on the porch, and then they end up like grab assing at the fence line, to show that they're real true brothers. That was again kind of, I think it could have been tightened up a little bit. But you could tell that there was that relationship between the two of them, especially when they both stood up for each other in one way or another. Yeah, so, but the real gem of the entire movie had to have been the T-Bone Cafe. That was absolutely beautiful. The T-Bone Cafe with the waitress who just basically, when they get in there, she's like, "What don't you want?" And they're like, "We get menus," and she's like, "No, this is a T-bone steak place. You get a T-bone steak and a baked potato." Someone from New York came in here a few years back and wanted trout, and we don't serve trout. So the real question is, what don't you want? Don't you want the corn on the cob, or don't you want the green beans? And they're both like, "I don't want green beans." And then she's like, "All right, medium rare steaks," and he's like, "Actually, I'd like." That wasn't a question. It was a great interaction. I really enjoyed that. That was one of the best parts of the movie. I think was the T-Bone Cafe. And the little thing where there's this thing where he's waiting out front of the bank in Coleman, and they're like on their way to Coleman, and you're like, oh, they're gonna meet up there, and then they're like, oh no, let's not go to Coleman, let's go to Post, and he's like, so then they're on their way to Post, and it's like, oh, they missed him, and then he's like, well, if they're not here at Coleman, oh, they're probably at Post, so let's go to Post, and so they head off to Post, and they get there a little bit late. I thought the timing of that was interestingly planned. And the shootout of at the last bank was very Texas. I mean, all the concealed carries were there, and and there was a lot of bullets flying. And I love that they, even after they got machine gun, they're showing up at the last part trying to catch the guys. That felt like Texas to me. When I think of Texas, I think of that kind of attitude. Um, yeah, that's the my take on the movie, really. Again, I think that they overemphasize the evil bank. All the signs alongside the roads to say, oh, this place is so downtrodden. They're so depressed, and they're so, at one point, he tells him, that being poor is a generational disease kind of feel to it. And basically he did what he did so his kids wouldn't have that, and he took none of the money. He just gave to his kids, and so they could, have a better life than he did. That doesn't justify his actions, and for some reason, when Bridges walked away and said, "I'll put you out of your misery," or maybe, or you can put me out of my misery, um, or maybe I'll just make you live with the rest of your life. Excuse me. I feel like there was. Drink some water here because I've been talking too long. This is actually the second take. So yeah, I gotta learn how to edit so I can cut this stuff out. But yeah, I just feel like the thing at the end there really did not give justice to what happened. Good people died because of what this guy planned, and this guy planned something that was not justified. Even if the bank was screwing him, he should not have robbed them of their own money, and then it wasn't a true Robin Hood story, I don't think. So that's my take on Hell or High Water. And I'm going to keep on doing these when I go to these premieres, and maybe when I watch some things. I think the next one I'm going to do is Stranger Things, because I really enjoyed Stranger Things, and I want to talk about that and talk about how great that was. But that's my Hell or High Water review. If you enjoyed what I had to say, or if you disagree with me, or thought I shared too much, like, comment, subscribe. So that's the genre report for August the 15th. Thanks for watching.